If you're a real estate agent and you're tired of cold calling, door knocking, and spending money on ads, then subscribe to this podcast. We discuss leveraging the power of YouTube for your real estate business and how these strategies earned us over $1 million in GCI our first year in real estate. My name is Levi Lascsak and my partner is Travis Plumb. Let's get started.
I'm just going to start the discussion off. Matt, good to see you. Brandon, good to see you as well. And I just wanted to, something we were kind of talking about today, this morning in the room, and I wanted to kind of expand on that a little bit, is we were talking about funnels. And for people that don't know what a funnel is, or it's also could be referred to as a sales process or a customer journey or a client journey, it's basically what does it take to get somebody from a stranger to a client, and what process do they go to? And so that is, there's several different ways to do that. And, there's several different ways to attract people and get them through that process. Well, the cool thing is that, I made the argument as usual that, I believe YouTube is the best funnel process, unless now, if you have a digital product's the only thing I've seen that you can actually take somebody through a client journey and possibly sell something to them without ever having to meet them, right? You can run an ad, attract them to a webinar, and then have a sales page at the end, and people can buy something just completely on their own. Well, they have to go through a certain process, and their belief has to change for them just to buy a digital product on their own. Well, the thing is the same in real estate, except for real estate, we have to meet that person, we have to talk to them, we have to sell them real estate. They just don't buy that on their own based off of an ad or anything like that. So they still have to go through a client journey, they still have to go through a process. Well, whatever it is you're marketing or however it is you're doing that, you're walking them through that process. And so if you're cold calling, you're making a call, you're establishing that contact, you're creating awareness. They're aware of who you are, but they don't necessarily know you. They don't have a relationship. They don't have a lot to base anything off of. And so that's where you have to continually reach out. Now, if you make a contact and there's somebody that is a potential, or they express interest, or they say, yeah, we might sell in 6 months. Well, now you've got them in your journey and in your client process. And so from that standpoint, now you have to get them to, understanding and relationship building. So that's kind of the next step. So it's just not just awareness. Now you have to start to develop that relationship. So from there, that can be done several ways. Either you continually follow up with them and call them, or you send them information in the mail, or you send them emails, a newsletter, anything like that. All that type of stuff is really helping you start to build that relationship with them. And at the point, hopefully down the road, after 6, 8, 9 months, whatever the timeline may be, maybe it's 30 days. If you've established enough and built enough of a relationship with that person, they're going to, likely reach out to you, hopefully reach out to you to purchase a home. So the thing is that in online, you have to usually pay for that process. You have to pay to walk people through that process, because you run an ad, and then when they see that ad, you pay to retarget them, and you probably retarget them over and over again. It usually takes 7 to 8 or 9 retargets, and then finally they reach out. So ultimately, you're kind of walking them through that process. So what I'm getting to here is that when we were talking about YouTube, what I like about YouTube, and also even if you lead capture, so even if you have a website or anything out there and you get them to a lead capture or a lead magnet, which let's say you offer a buyer's guide or a market report or something they can download in exchange for their email or their phone number. Well, in that case, you've collected their information, but you still need to reach out to them. You haven't necessarily built a relationship at that point, but they've at least volunteered their information. You've captured it. You're going to reach out to them. You have at least a reference point now to establish some sort of conversation. The thing is with all this, of course, is that they may not necessarily be in the buying process right now or looking immediately. That could be still further down the road. So when we were talking about YouTube, the reason I really believe it's one of the best funnels or sales processes or client journeys out there is because the client will take themselves through the entire process. And whenever they're ready to buy, they will actually reach out and call you. So here's the cool thing about that is, number one, it's free. You don't have to pay for that. You have to just get the content out there. So if you get the content out there, that person and you create it properly, you optimize it properly so it's found, it's searchable, well, what happens is somebody finds that information, they find your video on their own. Now, anytime anybody does anything on their own, they're usually bought into that, right? They're usually already sold. They've already convinced themselves they want to do it because they did it on their own, other than somebody else telling them to do it or putting them in a position where they're, making them choose. So if they find your video on their own, imagine this. They're searching for information on your city. They find your video. They watch your video. Well, guess what? YouTube's going to recognize that and say, hey, this person watched 30, 40, 50, 60%, 100% of this video from this creator. And so they're going to say, well, they're probably likely going to watch another video. So YouTube's actually going to serve up probably one of your next videos to that person. And guess what? It's probably going to be on the same neighborhood or area that they searched. And so from that standpoint, they could watch another video. And if they watch another video, guess what YouTube's going to do? It's going to be more than happy to serve up more and more of your videos, because it's going to realize something here, that this person is actually consuming the content on the platform. So now that person is going from awareness that they searched and found your content. But as they consume that second, third, fourth video, they've now moved themselves to the middle of the funnel. So there's top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Top of funnel is awareness. They don't know who you are, but they find some of your content. Middle funnel is now they know who you are, and they're choosing to consume more of your content. Now they're starting to build a relationship with you. And again, you haven't paid a single penny for any of this to push it out there, because YouTube is doing some of the heavy lifting for you. Well, the last part, the bottom part of the funnel, when they reach out to you, when they call you, when somebody calls you and they initiate that call, they have already made that decision that they want to work with you. And that's the power right there, because once they do that, it's really game over at that point. You don't have to worry about explaining who you are or how you operate or what you do. They've already had and consumed enough content to where they are thinking, this is the person that I want to work with. It's the same as and here's the thing, and this is why we're not worried about competition, so to speak, out there, no matter which platform you're on, because even on YouTube, even if there's 10 other people with channels right now in your city, well, guess what? That doesn't stop HGTV or Bravo from creating another real estate channel, does it? They come out with new real estate shows all the time. It seems like every season. But guess what we do as real estate agents? Not that we have a lot of time, but if we do have time, we probably choose to watch real estate shows on TV. But we watch $1 Million Listing. We watch Fixer Upper. We watch Fixer Flop. We watch Selling Sunset, even though we like to talk smack about it, but we watch it because it's on Netflix. And so, we watch all of the different real estate shows. However, if it came to you buying a house, you would choose one real estate agent. You would choose one, but everybody in here, I would assume, has their person, whether it's Josh Altman, Ryan Serhant, Chip and Joanna, whoever else you want to name on a real estate show. You probably all have your one person that you would choose. Well, the thing is that you consume all the content, but you probably relate to one of them the most, or would like to work with one of them the most over anyone else. And so from that standpoint, if you reached out to them and they actually answered the phone, guess what? You would be ecstatic. You'd be like, wow, I can't believe it's actually you. You answered the phone. Oh, I get to work with you. This is great. You're not going to go anywhere else. So here's the great thing about that is that YouTube really has the opportunity to walk that client through the entire sales process, the entire client journey, the entire sales funnel. Actually, the client walks them through that whole process on their own. And the great thing is that what we were talking about, and I'm wrapping this up here, is that we were talking about lead magnets and capturing people's information. This is why on our YouTube channel, we don't link any social media on our YouTube channel. Why? Because YouTube's number one goal is time on platform. They want people to spend as much time on platform as possible. So if they're on YouTube, why would we want to distract them to another platform? They're in the mode or in the mood to consume long form content. Why would we want to distract them to any other content platform? So we want to keep them there as long as possible. The same way why we don't have lead capture or lead magnets on our YouTube channel, because even if they submitted that and we captured their name and email, guess what we would have to do? We would have to reach out to them. We would have to contact them. And they may want that information that they signed up for, but they may not be in the buying process right now. They may just still be in the research mode, or maybe they're 2 or 3 months down the road or 6 months down the road. And so if that's the case, well, guess what we've just done? We've put ourselves in a manual process of following up with them. Because once we've established that contact, or we've reached to them outbound, guess what we have to do? We probably have to follow up to them. Let's say if they're 6 months out, then what we have to do, how often would you call them? Once a month? Once every 2 weeks? If they say, hey, I'm thinking about purchasing in 6 months, how would you handle that? Would you say, okay, I'm going to call you every week for the next 6 months, or every 2 weeks? Would we agree that calling them twice a week would be probably too much? Well, that's the thing, is that now you have to put yourself out there, extend that effort and that time to do that, for the possibility of that they will work with you, or they will actually be ready in 6 months. However, when we publish videos on YouTube and we publish twice a week and they're watching our videos, we're actually reaching out to them twice a week for the next 6 months, or until they're ready. But we're not doing it manually on our part. But think about this, we're not just only doing that for that person, we're also doing it for the hundreds or the thousands of other people that see that. So YouTube is the ultimate, in my opinion, the ultimate drip campaign. It's the ultimate reach out. It's the ultimate way to stay in front of people, because someone may not want you to call them twice a week for the next 6 months. And you probably wouldn't want to do that either, because you wouldn't have enough time, even if you had 100 clients, to call them all twice a week. However, we can publish videos twice a week. They will likely consume that content. And whenever they're ready, and they may be ready in 5 months, they may be ready in 8 months. But what that allows us to do is we're allowed to now create more content, which is going to attract more eyeballs, and it's going to draw in more people. And that's where we can focus our efforts on. It's creating more value out in the marketplace so we can attract more people. And guess what? When that person is ready to buy, even if it's at 4 months, 5 months, or 8 months, guess who they're likely going to call? Because the more content and the value you publish, the more that relationship is going to deepen with them. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm not sure. I was going to bounce that off of Justin, but I'm not sure what he heard of that. He may be buying camera equipment, but Justin, did you catch any of that?
I lost the last piece. I don't know if it was me leaving the store, but it did cut out on me. So I don't know if you want to just wrap up that thought again too, and then I can definitely.
Okay. Brandon, did you catch that? Did I come through completely on there?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, good. So hopefully that just kind of gave a little brief overview of everybody of the power of what you can do through video. And it doesn't have to just be YouTube. Of course, I am completely biased towards YouTube, but you can really, whichever platform. I mean, TikTok as well is a good option for that, a good opportunity for that as well. But usually on YouTube, people are searching for content. So if they find your content, we found that those people are in the buying process. And so that's the great thing about being on top of that, and being on top of mind, and letting video do the work for you, and staying top of mind and continually prospecting to them twice a week. And whenever they're ready, they will call you. And again, at that point, it's game over. You really don't have to sell them on anything. They already want to work with you. So from there, Justin, if you're available, I don't know if you want to kind of chime in on that. I don't really have a question, but that makes sense?
Yeah, you uncovered a few thoughts as you were kind of speaking. It does make sense, right? And I mean, I've been doing YouTube, I call it like a 3-stripe white belt level for a little while now. And I feel like I just got my blue belt, because I do understand a little bit more now that subscriber count is not the be all end all. I think people just want to see big numbers like they do on follower count. But I can tell you, all I've been paying attention to is click-through rate. My click-through rate's about 8 to 9% right now. And then my retention time. So like when people are watching and what they're watching, and everything we're shooting is based around what they want to see. Now, the two channels that I have, one is more of the typical, neighborhood tours in the areas that I cover on the real estate channel, and we get a good amount of business from that. The other, I'm really taking a step back, and I spoke to you about this, Levi, in terms of who am I serving and what are they listening to? And it took me about 2 months of not actually posting long form videos to really dig into the analytics. And I discovered that it is 3 types of videos. It was 1, which are the how-to videos, so like how to create content and those things. 2 was an opinion piece on a state of the market, and then 3 was the behind-the-scenes vlog. So I shot a 18-hour vlog yesterday of a day in the life, kind of the whole scope of things, but that's primarily because my personal channel is not geared towards end user consumers, right? It is probably more for the thought leadership, higher level conversation and longer game I'm trying to play. So I think as long as people understand their audience, I'll use Glenda as an example because she's a phenomenal example on, say, TikTok, where this is where you unpacked an idea, Levi, and I'd love to talk about it. I would almost argue TikTok is the only other social media platform that to me is putting as much work into the algorithm as YouTube. But what I mean by that is, YouTube, you create videos, they remain searchable for a very long time, but more than searchable, they become recommended. And I think that's where TikTok came in, and the power of TikTok to recommend Glenda's videos to people that are looking for real estate because they realize that those people are in those topics. I wouldn't be surprised if, even if she stopped posting tomorrow, if she would still get tons of business next year because of the way that TikTok is going heavy on the recommended side. So just something to watch, right? And something to keep in mind that, Levi pointed out, it's not only about YouTube, it's about understanding the platforms and how they operate. So I kind of went everywhere with my response to that, but that's.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I do believe TikTok does play a role. I think it's the best short form content right now to be discovered, to be recommended, to gain traction. We started our TikTok channel on October 1st. I have not lifted a single finger for any additional work in that. Now, that I believe Glenda is definitely the model. So if you're going to start a TikTok channel, I believe that's who you want to model after. But I don't, that's not really my focus, but I wanted to be present on the platform. So what we're doing, and this is another great thing about YouTube and making long form content, is it can all be chopped up and into 30, 60-second, increments. And so a 20-minute video gives me 20 opportunities for 21-minute videos to be made. And so we've only chopped up our current videos, put them on a TikTok channel for the same as our Dallas channel. And interestingly enough is that we've got over 100 followers so far in just over, 45 days. But here's the thing I found really interesting is the hashtag Levi Lascsak, which to me is, I don't know if people actually actively searching that hashtag, but it's already up to 55,000 searches in TikTok. And we've watched that grow from like nothing over the last 45 days to now to be up to 55,000. And one of the videos on there, actually it's a different channel, but some of the videos on there are starting to hit the 1K mark and things like that. So it's gaining traction, and we're able to do that just by repurposing our content, which was my goal. Again, I think Glenda's the model for that, but it's not something that I really wanted to focus on personally or for my time. So we just wanted to chop up what we have. So absolutely, I think you can do that for other platforms, and we can also repurpose that for Instagram and TikTok. But let's jump to questions real quick. Mia, did you have any questions you wanted to ask, or comments or a contribution you wanted to throw in here?
Yes, I do. And whenever you're done with my questions, just go next. The first thing, what were you talking about? Kmart? No?
No? Kmart?
Okay. Yeah, I thought you said Kmart. My first question is that thank you very much. For a month, I've been going, oh, I could do this, oh, I could do that, and it's not real estate related. And after reading those books, I thought, I can't post that. And I asked you a question. You go, Google just wants content. So I posted this stupid video. And basically, I watched it from last night. And for me to have 30 views is incredible because I had done some other ones before and I got nothing. So my next question is, with how long it's taking, I want to get a videographer, an editor. And how do you organize it? If I just throw it at them and say, put it together, how do I know what to tell them?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. One thing is you can either, depending on how they operate, I mean, you can either have a call, but, that's not going to work out probably for multiple projects. But, that's where you have to develop relationships with your editors as well, because, it's going to take a lot more effort in the beginning to work through your style and what you're looking for. And then from there, as you build the relationship with that editor, hopefully you guys stick together for long enough to do that. They'll understand exactly what you're looking for. And if you throw your clips in a folder, they should be able to organize them. Now I record pretty much everything in order. So otherwise, except for maybe the intro, that usually will be the last one, because if I record the intro, I've already recorded all the other content. So it makes the intro more easier for me to preface the video, because I know what I've already filmed. And so I can kind of give them more of a preview in the intro. So I'll film that last, but my editor knows that. So if she finds the clips, there's 4, 5, 6 clips on there, she knows that the last clip is probably the intro. So she'll put that at the beginning. And then everything else, I pretty much film in order. So, that makes it easy for her, because I know the flow I want the video. If you don't do that, then it's in your best interest to probably go back and rename those files. So I don't want to go back and rename files, but if you go back and rename them, Dallas, Texas 1, Dallas, Texas 2, Dallas, Texas 3, that's going to give them a clear indication of, how to piece it together. But that takes you going back, reviewing the content, making sure it's in the order you want. As to where I just prefer to film in order, because I already understand the sequence and the flow of what I want to do, because I've already pre-planned the video. And so from that standpoint, you do want to make it easier, or as easy as possible, on your editor, in my opinion. But ultimately, the more you work together, the more you'll develop a relationship. And so that should get easier down the road. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much. What I wanted to do is go to like 4 or 5 of them and see, I want a good one. I know you get what you pay for. So I think this is really important, because I don't think I'm an editor. I'm not done. I'm pretty proud of it. I just need to know like what I'm talking about, but I don't, basically I sat up till 3 o'clock last night, and I will get it together, but that's an awful lot of time to spend. I spent all day yesterday. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Okay, you're welcome. And if you're going to do that, if you want to use the recommendation, which I've talked about, if you don't have an editor, you want to go to Fiverr and hire like 3 to 5 of them. You want to just create a Google Drive or Google folder, label everything in there in order, put the video files in order, and then also attach a document in there with instructions that explain what you would like. And then you can give that Google link to 3 different editors or 5 different editors, and pay for a low priced one, a mid priced one, a high priced one, and give them all the same link. They'll all get the same video files. They'll all get the same instructions, and see, who comes back with the best video. And that's probably going to be your person. Our team has expanded their capacity, if to help out, Mia. So if that's something you want to DM me about, I can send you their link. They'll be happy to talk to you. And the great thing about them is that they've done 250 videos for me, so they have a pretty good flow for the process. So if you're interested in that, then just DM me. Otherwise, you can go to Fiverr or some other options and kind of go from there. So let's move over to Brandon, if we can. And Brandon, do you have any questions, comments, contributions? How you doing?
What's up, man? What's going on? You know I always do. Appreciate you for even having this room, first off. But I was in the process of setting up the banner. So that's where I'm at right now. That that I was watching a video. This lady was walking you through how to do it. I fell asleep on her. It was like 2 o'clock last night. But anyway, that's what's confusing me is the guidelines she had. So I'll have to rewatch the video to get that straight. But my question is how, like, I know some people's banners may say um, check in with us weekly as we post a new video every week or whatever. That is what I want to end up doing. Maybe one, maybe even two videos a week when I get to that point. Right now, I'm definitely not there, but that pressure of having to post every week so you can keep your audience, because they expect at that point, if you say something like that, they're going to expect that video. You know what I mean? So how do you? I'm assuming you already have these videos stacked on top of each other. How are you going about that? If that made any sense, I felt like I was rambling.
Well, yeah, I think you definitely want to work on establishing a schedule and determining how much content you want to put out each week. Or, and I believe for someone like ourselves, which, we're just trying to get a foothold in the real estate market and a sea of millions and millions of videos. I think one of the best things you can do is establish consistency from the beginning. And the more content you produce, the more traction you're going to gain, the quicker. And that's just the bottom line there. So, but I absolutely recommend you commit to at least one per week if you want to actually gain some traction. Now, here's the thing: when I started in Dallas, there was about 10 other channels, 10 other real estate agents that were doing, had channels. But what I noticed is that they were all doing one video per week. And so I just thought, if I'm ever going to catch them, and some of them one of them had been on there for 8 years. I mean, 8 years, and I was just like, well, look, if I'm going to catch any of these people, and they have thousands and thousands of subscribers and all that, I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to outwork them. And so, I committed to 3 videos per week. 2 videos a week would still do that as well, but that's just what I noticed. And that's what allowed me to pass up. Now we've passed up 8 of those 10 channels. We're about to catch the 9th, and I believe we'll catch the 10th as well, maybe within another 6 to 8 months. So, and that's just a benchmark I set for myself. That's not anything to, try to win or anything like that. But I just was like, I want to gain traction. And I know the more you put yourself out there, it's just like the more calls you make, the more doors you knock, whatever it is you do. If the more you do it, the faster you're going to get better at it, and the faster you're going to gain traction. So absolutely, I believe 100% in committing, sticking to a schedule, and put that up there on your banner to make that commitment to yourself. That's what I would do, and and then stick with it.
Okay, I got you. Hell yeah, that makes sense. Because if I see myself and I put that in front of the world of video every week, I'm going to, yeah, I got you. And also, Rhonda Fisher wanted me to tell you she asked you a question on the back channel. So if you could reply to her, that would be helpful.
Absolutely. Thanks for reminding me. I'll cover that real quick and then move over to Shannon. So she asked, what do you do with negative comments? So, I don't worry about them. Sometimes I reply in a smart aleck kind of way, but I don't really recommend that. It just depends. You have to really understand if they're straight out really, really bad, and I've seen some bad ones, I just delete them, and, if they're just someone like, oh, Dallas sucks, well, I don't really care about that. That's not a, and so I'll leave that, or sometimes I'll reply and I'll say, thanks for sharing, just something like that. Or it's just something simple, but otherwise I don't worry about it. If anybody attacks me personally, I'll just delete that. I'm not even going to respond to it. Doesn't happen that much, but what I just think of is that, hurt people, and for someone to sit behind a computer and, with a, obscure profile and a fake name or whatever, and then just, say something, that's not even anybody I'm going to waste time thinking about. So I just move on. If it's really, really bad, I'll just delete it. And sometimes that does happen. So I don't get caught up in it, just kind of move forward. So hopefully that helps, Rhonda. Shannon, how are you doing today? What you up to, chicken head?
Hey, Josh. Ha, that's my turkey head, y'all. Shannon Milligan here, Richmond, Virginia. Sorry if it's a little windy. I'm sitting in my walk because, when you're either interested or committed, and right now I'm interested in YouTube, I'm not fully committed yet. I'm still learning, and I don't want to do it if I cannot fully commit. So I have a couple questions. Actually, I have two. So the first one is, when you start, do you want to have like 3 videos right away, post them all at once? Because when I was listening to you, you were mentioning, they'll watch one video and then YouTube could serve them up another one of your videos. So that's my first question. And then my second question is, I have videos on YouTube. They're horrific. All they are were Facebook Lives that an admin downloaded and uploaded a long time ago. Does it hurt you to go and like start with a clean slate? Just delete all of them, or should you go and put new videos and then over time you can delete the really...
Yeah, great questions, and I'd love to get Justin's feedback too. But so I would never delete any videos at all, and you can unlist them. You can mark them as unlisted, which I would do if they don't pertain to real estate. So if you want to focus more on real estate, and that's the market you're trying to serve, and you've got videos of you dancing on your table with a turkey on your head, that may not be the best for the real estate channel. Just my opinion, but it does work for some people. But I want every opportunity when somebody comes to my channel, no matter what video they find, is 100% value driven about real estate in the Dallas market for them. Period. I incorporate my personality. I don't dedicate any of my videos to my personality. It's sprinkled throughout my videos. And so that way people get to know me and develop a relationship with me through more and more videos, by watching more videos. And so they get a little piece of me in every single one, instead of me dedicating a whole video about, well, I love to go to the farmer's market on Saturday, although that could be something that could be worthwhile. But however, I'm just not going to do that. Secondly, if you're publishing just starting out, I just recommend having 3 to 4 weeks of content. So if you're doing 2 videos a week, then that's 8 videos you want to have that I would have scheduled out. I would not publish them all at once. I would still publish twice a week. The thing is that nobody's probably going to watch your first video anyways, or your second video. So you don't have to worry about that. By the time you get the third and fourth one up there, you're going to have 4 videos. So there will be a reference point for somebody. But here's the other thing. We all get caught up on trying to be perfect on our first video, or releasing the perfect first video. And the reality is that nobody's going to watch it, likely. You go back to my very first video, I think it still has like 400 views. It still has not gained really any traction, especially compared to other videos I have. However, I kept producing content, and the videos that caught, later down the road, that's what grew the channel. It wasn't that first video or the second video. But they do have opportunity to gain traction later on. One of my first videos was veterans benefits, because being a veteran, that's something I wanted to put that information. I wanted to provide that value. It went nowhere for the first 3-4 months, literally nowhere. Now, I believe it's the top searched video when somebody types in veteran benefits for Texas. I believe it shows up number 1 now, and it's about to hit 10,000 views. But it was dormant for 3 or 4 months with zero traction. So sometimes it just hits a little bit later on, and that's a good thing. So otherwise, when you're starting out, I wouldn't worry about that. Definitely don't publish everything in one day, or 3 or 4 videos in one day. I've experimented with that myself. I published 3 in one day, kind of like releasing a Netflix series, so to speak, because that's where I got the wild idea. I was like, well, if Netflix releases their whole series in one day, why not give it a try? And I tried 3 videos in one day, and it absolutely killed 2 of them. And so, and I think I really confused YouTube as well, which one to recommend. And so I wouldn't recommend that at all. And that's kind of my 2 cents on that. Justin, do you want to add anything in there?
Yeah, I think I can echo what you said. I had one video, it was random. It was me swinging a kettlebell, doing the On It kettlebell workout when COVID started. I actually did very, very well. And before I met you and Benji Travis, actually, I deleted it without thinking. And even Benji said the same thing, right? Benji's got millions of subscribers and billions of views, I think, at this point. And he's like, yeah, you got to think of YouTube as, a prototype ideation. And what that means is every time you put something out there, it's getting smarter and smarter at dialing in what people want from you, right? So the more information that's out there, I think it does need to be consistent in terms of channel content. So the unlisted tip was a good one. Something I just heard Emily Bunker say when it comes to YouTube, though, is YouTube, I guess, made an announcement that they're going to start deleting unlisted videos after a certain period of time. So I don't have any details when it comes to like how long they're going to allow unlisted videos to stay for before they do that, but maybe just something to think about. And then just in terms of I think YouTube's a long game, right? So I think your point about putting out a video and not knowing that the veterans one may end up being the one that pops is how people should think of all social platforms. Even if you looked at, say, my Instagram platform, I've been having a tough time with my reels. I've had a couple recently where like I'll post them and I'll get 0 or I'll get like 3 views in 2 or 3 days. And there's something going on with my account. So I'm not really sure what it is exactly, but I can tell you that I just left a meeting and somebody was referencing the content that I put out, and I'm turning it into real business. So I don't really care, again, going back to what I said earlier about my follower count or my view count, although those are the vanity metrics. I understand that the content I've been putting out over the last, call it 10 years consistently, is generating a ton of damn business, right? So I think I'm in the same mindset with YouTube that I may not be getting the metrics that are showing me that I'm going to blow up and be Mr. Beast tomorrow, but that's not really my goal. And I think if you put your head down and you stick to the plan, it works. But also not being stuck to a specific plan and listening to what the algorithm's telling you is pretty critical. So.
Yes, absolutely. Shannon, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I just, my Facebook Lives, they're all real estate related. They're just really bad, like really bad hair. I know that y'all say it doesn't matter, and it doesn't, but, to me it matters. But it's really bad. It's really dry, but it's, I've gotten business from it, so I guess I just leave them up. But I would love to have that, like, really pretty, design like you have. I know yours, Levi, like, when I think of it, like blue and orange, and it's just really crisp. So I guess the goal would be to do those new ones and then just bury the other ones with the new.
And yeah, Levi, about that, like she said, the blue and the orange, is that like your color, like your brand color, or was that just something you felt like putting on?
Well, if you notice, it's in my ring as well. On my Clubhouse profile, it's my ring. So I don't. I mean, blue. I'm a blue guy. Blue is my favorite color. And if you look at a color wheel, so if you're determining a palette or you want to use two different colors, if you look at a color wheel in marketing terms, you want to use opposite colors on the color wheel. So what you'll see, and you'll notice this now, Brandon. Most of your sports teams are. Um, Most of your sports teams, you'll find their colors are opposite of the color wheel. So if you think about like LSU is purple and yellow, well, those are actually opposite colors on the color wheel. So they go together. They contrast, but they go together. So anytime you're picking a color scheme, or you want a brand, look at that color wheel and say, hey, what's your favorite color? And then look at what's opposite of that. And that's a really easy way to determine your brand color. So for me, blue is my favorite color. Orange is on the opposite side of that. It's a good contrast. I'm not really a big orange type of guy or care about orange. However, when you combine it with the blue, like, you get a good look. And I really like that look. And so for me, that's what works. And so if you like red, I don't forgot what's on the opposite side of that. I just remember purple and yellow. And yeah, so look at that and you'll find that in most marketing or sports teams or things like that they have two main colors, and they're usually going to be opposite on that color though. Does that make sense,
Hey, Levi.
Shannon?
Levi, I have a question on the back channel that somebody wanted me to ask you. So it's, I have an old channel that is with my company's email address. Should I to a meeting channel with my, sorry, it's kind of coming off. Can I also, it's written a little weird. I have an old channel that is with my company's email address. should I to a meeting channel with my email address? My old channel only has old listing videos. Also, can we delete our old channel? Do with that what you will with that, but that was the question.
Yeah, you can add an email in the about section. If you want somebody to contact you, you can add the visible email. So the email you started the channel with shouldn't really matter unless you don't have access to it anymore. That's a problem, just because you may need a secondary code or something like that. But or if it's with a former company you work with. So that's something that I usually talk about. Don't, always brand with your personal things. Don't brand towards a brokerage or a company you're with, because if that ever changes, you don't want to lose that opportunity. That's also why I say don't put your phone number and email and brokerage and all that directly on your videos or embedded in your videos, because if that ever changes, then and if your number changes for some odd reason, I know we feel like we'll have our phone numbers forever, but if you were to ever change that, you'll have a problem with those old videos, and you'll lose business that way. So keep things to where you can change them out. If you don't want to use a whole channel, you can just start a new channel. You can either, if you want to delete that channel, you can. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you don't want to salvage anything on there, then that's completely up to you. But I would delete the whole channel instead of deleting videos. If you're going to keep the channel, I would never delete videos. I would unlist them until, if YouTube ever removes them, then that's on them. But if you're going to delete something and you want to delete the whole channel, I don't see a problem with that. You can start a new channel. You can start multiple channels. They're called brand accounts. You can do that on there. And so, but sometimes it may be easier to start fresh than trying to build off of something, so I would, if you're not married to it, then yeah, go for it. So hopefully, I don't see any more hand raising, guys. Hopefully that answers everyone's questions. And I actually, probably is a little bit better for me to jump early. We've got quite a bit on our plate today. So I don't believe there's any other questions. I don't have anything in the back channel. So I just wanted to thank everyone for showing up today. Next week, guys, definitely come back next week. It should have Taya DeCarlo on. For those that don't know Taya DeCarlo, she's an amazing video and content creator, and just absolutely a lot of fun to watch as well. So she should be our guest speaker next week, and hopefully that works out. She has confirmed that, so that's good. But hey, we're always flexible. Justin, Taya?
No, sorry, I would say DeCarlo.
Yeah, Taya DeCarlo.
Yeah, I met her like super early on this application. She's awesome. Yeah, I know she's spoken at a couple events and whatnot as well. So yeah, she'll be a great guest.
Yeah, she'll be here next week. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and take off since we don't have any more questions. Thank you all for joining us today. Feel free to always DM me or, hit me up here. I'll always do my best to answer your questions and help you out. Otherwise, we'll see you same bat time, same bat channel next week, guys. Thank you so much.
See you, everybody.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks, Mia. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. If you're interested in partnering with us to access our YouTube course and coaching all for free, schedule a call at 5starstrategycall.com.